When you play the Game of Thrones, you
Subscribe and like.
or you die. There is no middle ground.
Alright, hello YouTube, welcome back to the Grease Goblin Jr. channel. Today's video, we are going to be talking all about the Battle for Storm's End and the following events with, say, Mace Tyrell, as he is also marching to siege Storm's End as we speak. We're going to be going over all the basics, what's going on, and what to expect in Winds of Winter, and all of that. Now, there is going to be a good portion of this that we're going off of a Winds of Winter sample chapter. So again, take some of this with a grain of salt. George could change these sample chapters, so everything could be completely different. And the sample chapter we are going to be specifically referencing is going to be Arion 2. That's where we get a lot of our information as the whereabouts of young Griff and or Jon Con and what they are planning to do at the beginning of Winds of Winter. But before we get into the video, if you guys like to like, subscribe, and comment, please do, and it helps the channel grow, which people that might like this content as well, and let's get into it. So, let's look at what is going to be happening here. So, we're told that young Griff and Jon Con are, marching on Storm's End, and by the end of the Arion 2 chapter, that they have actually taken it by guile. So, how is this going to work? How can Storm's End be taken? It's one of the greatest castles in Westeros. It's said to be impregnable. And to this point, no one has ever actually taken the castle at this point in history. So how does all of a sudden young Griff, who is someone that doesn't have an extremely large army, he doesn't have all the time in the world to siege this castle, how is he going to take it? Now, there's a couple options that people have suggested. And I think Joe Magician, I'm going to give him a shout out. He has one of the better theories on this idea. But let's set the stage. So if it's by guile, we know that this is not going to be just some frontal assault. There has to be something else involved. And if we do some background information here on the actual people holding Storm's End, if you guys will remember back to A Clash of Kings, when Stannis was sieging Storm's End, these were all of Renly's men. Courtney Penrose was the one holding the castle, and let's remember that this guard was very loyal to Edric Storm. That was one of the main issues, right? They weren't wanting to give him up. And so, when we look at it, when Stannis does eventually take the castle, he lets the guard stay the same, but he puts a new person in charge that is loyal to him. So when we come to the point of Winds of Winter, where young Griff and Jon Con are trying to take Storm's End, it's the same people, but a different leader. Now, let's put that into context. That means that the guard here at Storm's End is not necessarily the most loyal to Stannis. When we look at other characters or other people that were supporting Stannis, after the Battle of the Blackwater, a lot of Stannis' Stormlander lords actually go to the other side. They go to Joffrey's side. There's this idea of Renly and his ghost, and people switch sides because Renly is back. We know that's not actually true. It's Garland Tyrell wearing his armor, but all the same. So we're given information to really suggest that this guard here is probably not loyal to Stannis. Now let's also think of, where is Stannis at this point? Stannis is off in the north, and it kind of seems like he's kind of abandoned the south, right? He's been up in the north for a substantial amount of time at this point. He hasn't been back to Storm's End in a long while now. So this group of men that are sitting at Storm's End could be thinking, well, what could we gain if, say, Jon Con offered this garrison something better? And I think, what is that going to be? What is that tipping point? Again, if we go back to who their original loyalties were in Renly, and specifically Edric Storm, well, where is Edric Storm then? And we're told that he's possibly in Lys. Now, who would have a ton of spies in Lys, who is then also connected to this cause of young Griff? Who would know where he is? Varys is someone that would have a ton of spies from Lys, as we know he came from there. We know that the spy master of the Golden Company also would have spies there. So I think it's very easy to point to the idea that they would be able to find Edric Storm. Also, I don't know if people say Edric or Edric, whichever you guys want to say. Let me know down in the comments the correct pronunciation or how you guys think it should be said. And so I think this idea ties in really nicely to my general theory that Varys is basically setting up a 7 kingdoms where there's a bunch of puppets to young Griff. Because if young Griff and Jon Con sit here and promise, okay, if you guys bend the knee, you let us take the castle and let us in. There's another way they're going to get in, by the way. That's a whole different situation that I think is going to happen. But we will give you back your lord. We'll make him a full-blown Baratheon. And we'll, set you guys up for riches. And you can help us take out the Lannisters, who all of them would also dislike. And also, we have this idea of how do they get into Storm's End? Now, what is the only way so far that we've really seen that someone could get into Storm's End? It would be below it, with a ship going through, just very similar to Davos and Melisandre. Now, how would they get further in? Because remember, a grate stops them from getting fully into the castle. How would that change in this situation? How would young Griff's forces be able to get in? And I think what you play on, all the things I just talked about, the motivations for this garrison at Storm's End, and how young Griff and Jon Con can manipulate these people to switching to their side, offering them all of these things if they switch sides, could lead to them opening this grate, and we see young Griff and Jon Con take the castle. Now, that's only the first part of this, right? Because it's good and all, and it's nice and good and all that Jon Con and young Griff take Storm's End. This is a huge thing. Think about, for instance, the first Blackfire Rebellion, and even Blackfire Rebellions going forward. What was the thing that everyone always needs to prove their claim to get more people to their side? You need a decisive win or a big foothold within Westeros. Having Storm's End, an impregnable castle, a great rallying point for your men at this time, is very important. And that is going to, again, lead to a lot of where I think young Griff's plotting is going to be before he goes to take King's Landing. But we're also told a second bit. We know that Mace Tyrell is going to Storm's End to, again, presumably siege it again. So, how is this going to go? We're also told, again, this is a sample chapter thing, that Aegon wants to meet them in the field. He doesn't want to wait. He wants to keep attacking, and he's going to meet them on the field. Well, there's a kind of a problem here. Mace Tyrell's force is going to more than likely be bigger than young Griff's. Now, young Griff has the Golden Company, very skilled. They have elephants, presumably. So, again, young Griff, it doesn't really seem like this is a battle that he's going to be able to win. Now, can he bloody Mace Tyrell's forces? Can he really decimate a lot of their strength with this army? Yes. Now, let's think about the Tyrells and how the way they've always dealt with warfare. The Tyrells are, and I want to also bring up the Hightowers, because the Hightowers are married directly into the Tyrells. What do they do in warfare? They stay out of it, they let the main forces clash, and then they pick the winning side. So I talked about this on stream on Monday, is the idea of, well, Mace Tyrell could see this as, what if I just stay out of the way, I don't bloody all of my forces, take the main brute of the assault, weaken my position even more when our alliance, the Lannisters, is not looking so good. Kevin Lannister has just died. Pycelle has just died. Cersei is just going to be more unhinged. So, I think we look at it, and I think Jon Con and young Griff are going to argue this exact point. Mace, stay out of the war, and maybe, if we win, I will marry Marjorie. Or that's how we unite our houses, and you will be rewarded for staying out of it. And if we lose, well, oh well, you can say that you missed our forces, but you've also been sieging Storm's End. You can make up all these things. The crown will still need you. It's a win-win for the Tyrells, and they don't need to bloody their forces. Also, we look at the idea that the Tyrells are having a huge issue right now with Euron. It frees up Mace's forces to deal with that issue instead of having to deal with young Griff. So again, there's a lot of possibilities for why Mace Tyrell would not want to fight young Griff, and it wouldn't make sense for him to do so. So then, you have this kind of conflict being resolved. Young Griff has taken Storm's End. He has dealt with Mace Tyrell and all of that. I don't know if there's going to be a battle here. I think other people have predicted maybe there is a battle. I think it could be as simple as young Griff sees this as, Why would we need to fight them now? We can get them out of the way. We can convince Mace Tyrell not to fight us and do that. Now, something we could also see that would be very different is we know that it is said that young Griff has friends in the Reach. Who are these friends? I am someone that has predicted that Randall Tarley will be one of these people, and the Tarleys will flip on the Tyrells. There's this interesting note that Randall Tarley wants Brightwater Keep. He thinks that it should go to him. And again, the reason that that is being a castle that's being held for someone else is because it's actually the place of the Florents. And the Florents are backing Stannis, so that keeps kind of up for grabs at this moment. And instead of it going to Randall Tarley, it's gone to Garland Tyrell. And that's a clear slight to someone like Randall Tarley, who, again, they had more of a claim probably than Garland did. So, again, we could see some of the Reach forces flipping on Mace Tyrell, and we could also see that's how they win the battle as well, because young Griff seems very confident in meeting them in the field. So he needs to think, why is that? And one reason could be he thinks that he won't actually have to fight him, or two could be that he knows some of the Reach forces are going to flip on Mace Tyrell. So I think there's a couple of possibilities, and I don't think young Griff's storyline is going to end here with Mace Tyrell regardless. I think he's destined for at least some sort of assault on King's Landing and probably taking it. But let me know what you guys think about young Griff, and do you think he will fight Mace Tyrell's forces? Do you not think he will? And let me know what you guys think about young Griff trying to take Storm's End. How will he do it? I know there's other people that think maybe they will dress up as Stannis' men and then come into the castle. I think that one is harder to go off of, because how are you going to say that you are people that are high up in Stannis' men to get into the castle? You're not really going to have any way of verifying that. Also, I don't know if they have any of like Stannis' armor from his men. Maybe they could take some. I don't know. There's a lot of questions I have with that idea. But let me know what you guys think, and I will see you guys all in the next video. Bye, guys.